everyone, welcome back to Kevin Reviews. I just finished watching Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid, a film from 1969 that is directed by George Roy Hill, who also directed um, the Sting and Slapshot. With that, also starred Paul Newman, and we have writer William Goldman, who also wrote All the President's Men and The Princess Bride. And of course, we have the cast that mainly stars Paul Newman and Robert Redford, and also starring for most of the film is Catherine Ross as Etta Place, the love interest for both of our notorious outlaws. Um, so I thought I'd review this because ever since last week on September 16th, 2025, we lost a great actor, performer, personality in Robert Redford, and I thought maybe this would be a good time to talk about one of his best films, because I think for many who have seen it or at least know about it, um, if if anyone were to ask what is the best film that Robert Redford, or even Paul Newman for that matter, was their best in, it would be Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid, and that's for mainly kind of one reason, which I will get into later. Um, I did see this before, but I saw this in high school for a film class. Um, so I don't remember a ton. I don't remember if I ever fall asleep. I don't even remember if I liked it. I remember it being a classic, and it had great scenes in it. But I didn't remember too much before rewatching it again. And the other thing is I don't often get into westerns as much. I don't hate them. There are plenty of westerns that I do like, but again, it's not always kind of my cup of tea. Basically, it's just but there are really good ones like Unforgiven, uh, Good, Bad, and the Ugly. Mostly like Clint Eastwood, The Searchers, True Grit, specifically the Jeff Bridges, Matt Damon version, the Coen brothers version. But yeah, there's plenty of Western films that I do actually like. Um, so I'm gonna go ahead and do my review. Keep in mind, if I do have any criticism, it's not I'm not trying to diss Robert, the memory of Robert Redford. I'm doing this as a tribute because I've seen him in plenty of good movies and really great movies, and I do really like him um, as a whole. So again, I'm not gonna diss. I'm just it's my opinion. I'm judging it based on how I see it, especially now after rewatching it again for since for some, after so many years. So, but yeah, keep that in mind. And here's my review. So, the story of Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid is actually a true story. Of course, because this is a film that's supposed to be based on a true story, it does fudge some of the details or take artistic liberties. But it does focus on famous outlaws, Butch Cassidy, the Sundance Kid. They do have names, actual names. But regardless, I think most of us know them as Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid. Are so? But in any case, they're robbing banks, they're robbing trains, they're just being the outlaws, and it's interesting because they're actually kind of like likable outlaws. They don't really um, do a lot of killing. They or stuff that they just rob people, and that's basically it. And they're very good at it. Um, but when a robbery goes wrong, now they're being hunted down um, by lawmen and expert trackers, and it seems like wherever they go, they're going to be found. They try to keep losing them. They try to live a different life and on the run. But it seems their past always comes back to catch up on them, and but that's basically it. So there's not much of a story per se, but the strength of this film is Paul Newman and Robert Redford as Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid. This is a perfect pairing of, you know, two great actors and personalities, and you just can't you just you can't imagine. It's like you always want to see them in films together because they work off each other so well. As characters, we have Butch Cassidy, who's kind of the brains, the brains at times, and kind of more carefree about how he approaches certain stuff. But he knows when to take things seriously at times. But sometimes he makes jokes and has some fun. Um, and then we have the Sundance Kid with Robert Redford, who's a bit more serious, though he can be joking, he likes to joke at times. He's kind of the muscle, along with the muscle, but more like a sharpshooter, the sharpshooter. He's really good at shooting, though he's mostly good when he's moving, and not standing still. It's kind of an interesting quirk, and that's one thing. There is quite a bit of comedy in this, and that bounces out with some of the drama and some of the somber moments of the film. And yeah, that's Tally next to me. Um, so, um, in any case, you got. I really enjoy their chemistry. They have great scenes. That it's really funny. There's even times where um, there's comedic moments where they add music that doesn't really gel with the Western thing, but you don't seem to care. And I do think the director doesn't really care about making it really that authentic. It's just basically the whole idea is to watch Paul Newman and Robert Redford as Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid just interact with each other. It's like comedic gold and a lot of fun. They're likable bandits. Even the people that they rob at times, or you know, the people know them and they actually kind of get along and say, kind of just do it either because they like them or they're out of fear, and or both, and likely both, I think. Um, and it's what's so fun about the film. Um, the cinematography is also great. It has great shots. Granted, it hasn't. I think rewatching again doesn't hasn't quite aged as gracefully in the you know gracefully, but it's still really impressive looking to see. And I like how they use certain natural lighting and shadow in certain areas to make certain things intense, or um, just be kind of, you know, just kind of, you know, make. I don't know. I'm having trouble trying to figure out the words, but I really like the use of light and shadow overall. Um, I did mention the music. The music is really funny. Um, as there's Etta Johnson as the kind of love interest, because Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid do have kind of a love interest. They almost share in a way. They don't really fight over her that much, um, and I don't think she even cares, and she doesn't even care if they're outlaws. She just she likes them. So she likes both of them. She probably even loves both of them. But she's really good. I think they do work well. Especially, I think she works better with Paul Newman, especially. Um, um, there are great moments, great scenes. There's a scene involving waterfall. There's the classic ending scene. Um, Granted, if I did have I if rewatching again, it does feel like at times it drags, and because there's not a ton of story. If you're really looking for story, there isn't really a ton to focus on. It's just basically watching Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid try to, do what they do best, and rob people, be outlaws, um, and they have quirks, they have humorous moments. You like them, but they're not good people. got not good guys really, but you do like them. Um, but yeah, I would say that the it does drag at times, and there were moments where it kind of I just kind of got a little bit tired. Thankfully, it's not a long movie; it's like nearly 2 hours. Um, so I'm thankful it did that because if it was like maybe 2 hours and 30 minutes, that I probably would have been bored out of my mind because we're just seeing them run majority of the time. But again, I think the strength is the chemistry. Butch Cassidy and Sundance Kid, basically Paul Newman and Robert Redford, who give it their all. They're great with each other. They're even great when not together. Um, so, but yeah, I don't know how the newer generation's gonna like newer you know younger people would enjoy this necessarily, especially if they don't know a ton about Paul Newman and Robert Redford. But I really think this is a good starting point to have them watch. I mean, it's not. Um, it is a bit violent. It's not severely violent. There is also, I should mention, there are some great effects. There are some good explosions, and it's almost like it's kind of impressive how they did it, and um, kind of the stunt work. I'm sure it's stunt work, and I'm sure they use special means to protect themselves or whatever. But it is very impressive to see how those are done. It almost felt like the real thing, and it probably is the real thing. Um, so I don't know, but I think for me, really do like the movie. I'm not 100% certain I would watch it again, like on a regular basis, like often repeat. Maybe once a year is good enough for me. But I think overall, I'm going to give Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid 4.5 stars. Like I said, it does drag at times, so it at times, so it just kind of like, and because I do like more story involved, and granted, there doesn't have to be any story, but I guess from my preference, I would have liked a little bit more story going on. Maybe more interaction with some, have a bit more characters to work off of at times. I don't know. That's just me. But overall, I still think this is an absolute classic. That if you have not seen it, you need to. This it is one of the best Western films um, ever ever made. But yeah, what are your thoughts on Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid? Leave in the comments below. Feel free to like or dislike the review if you wish. Feel free to subscribe to my channel if you like what you're seeing. And I'll see you guys next review. And rest in peace, Robert Redford. You will be missed.